Okay, this is a quick tutorial on how to design multi-layer materials for a laser cutter. So I'm in Adobe Illustrator. Let's open up a new uh, workspace. So I'm gonna hit File New. You can hit Command N if you want. I'm just gonna click on the first one here, and there's a canvas, a workspace canvas. And so now I want to on my workspaces, I'm going to do the Essentials Classic. I'll reset it for what you guys might see the first time you open this. So again, Workspace Essentials Classic. And then I'm going to add, get rid of this properties, and then I'm going to add one more thing. Pathfinder is, I find, often useful. So I'm going to go Window Pathfinder and drag it down here as well. Let me close that up. So I've got my Pathfinder open. Okay, so I got my Pathfinder. Here's layers, which would be extremely useful, and my transparency. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make the equivalent of what would be a sheet of paper. So I'm just going to draw a box. So here's my rectangle tool, and I'm going to go to my color picker down here, or my stroke and fill picker really, and click on the fill color, double click it, and I'll make my first sheet of paper blue. So now I'm going to just draw a box, and that's my blue sheet of paper. Now I'm going to select with my selector right here. I'm going to select nothing because I'm going to make a new shape, and I don't want I'm going to change color here, and if I have this one selected, it's going to change the color of this. So I'm going to go to my default color, which is just black and white. It's a white fill, black stroke, because if you click the little default fill and stroke here, hit D, then you get your default colors. So I'm going to start by just making a ellipse. All right, so I click on ellipse, draw my ellipse right there, and there it is. So it's right on top of it right now. Now the idea now is I want to, like a cookie cutter, cut this ellipse out of this piece of paper. So in other words, a laser cutter would maybe cut the border of the paper if need be, and then cut the ellipse out of it, and then it would drop out. So in order to see that virtually, I'm going to get on my selection tool right here, the big selector. So you got the big selector on top and the partial direct selection on the bottom. The big selector selects whole objects. The one on the bottom selects parts of objects. I'll use the whole object one. And then draw a box around all of it, select all of it. And then I'm going to open up the transparency right here. And I'm going to hit Make Mask. And then make these two check boxes opposite of what they are. And you see that if I drag this here to the side, I have the hole cut out. So you can see that it's been cut out. Okay, great. So now I'm going to open up my layers and lock this up so I don't accidentally select it. So let's get a new sheet of paper. So this new sheet of paper, I'm going to make it be, let me double click here in the blue, and I'm going to make it like purple. That'll be cool. And go to my rectangle tool, and I'm going to make this a little bit sloppy so you can see what's behind it. Oh, see, I can't draw anything right now because I have to make a new layer, and the reason why is because I locked up the only layer that's available. So I'll make a new layer right here, create new layer. That's that little icon right there, create new layer. And now I can make it. So there's my purple box, and I'm going to make it a little sloppy so you can see what's behind it just for demonstration purposes. So you can see the blue and the purple behind it. Now I want to draw another ellipse where the old one is and make it a little bit bigger, but I can't see it. So I'm going to take my transparency, which is the little dotty things here, and I'm going to make the opacity a bit less just temporarily so I can see what's behind it. And now I'm going to select, again, nothing, hit my selector and just click the background, and change to my default colors of black and white by clicking the little default fill and stroke deal here with the D key is fine too. And make another ellipse like this. And then again, using my big selector, I'll select everything, open up my opacity, transparency, and may as well get this all, the opacity back up to 100% since I already know I've got everything positioned right. And then I'm going to hit make mask and then you know, make these two check boxes opposite. Now you can see I've got another hole cut into this purple one. Let's move this over so you can see what's happening here. So definitely cut out a hole into the purple one. And you can see the blue one behind it with its hole. Let's do it one more time. So again, I'm going to go to my layers and lock those two up and then make a new layer this time, since I forgot to do that last time, so that I can make a new sheet of paper on top of it. And I'll make this new sheet of paper, perhaps the sky blue. That looks good. Again, I'll go to my shape tool deal here and go to rectangle. And I'll put it a little off center so you can see. There it is. Again, I can't see what's behind it, so I'll go to transparency and temporarily take the opacity down so I can see what I'm doing. Perhaps there's a better way to do this, but that's the way I do it. Click nothing again so I can go to the default colors. And then I'll get the ellipse tool going again. And then draw the third ellipse. Maybe I'll move it over a little bit. Using my arrow keys. And then select everything again, except for what's locked. Go to my transparency, take my opacity back up to 100% again. And hit make mask, undo my little check boxes, and there I have my third piece of paper here. And so then these would be ready to be laser cut, and then you can stack them. Now, if you were to bring this now to the laser cutter, save your Illustrator file and go to the laser cutter with it, you'd have to do it separately for each layer if you're going to cut different pieces of different material, different colors and all that. Or if you were going to cut the same material, if you didn't have this different colors, you can just separate these, put these apart. Let me unlock everything. And then cut it all out at once. Now, before you go to cut, you have to release all of those masks that you made. There's a release button. When you hit mask, you get release. So that you can make this whole thing just be stroke with no fill, because the laser cutter doesn't care about the stroke. It just, I mean the fill, it just wants to have the stroke. So I'm gonna select each one of these and hit release, release, and release. So they're all released. They no longer have a hole cut out. Make this a little bit smaller so you can see what I'm doing. And then I'm gonna select everything. Go to the default colors for everything now, but this time I'm going to make the fill be nothing and the stroke be red, because that's the convention for the laser cutter, is that all the strokes are red. And so that should have all of them like that. Let's move that over. Oop, gotta use my big one. Move that over. And so these are separated now, so you probably would want to have it moved over before you start that. So there you have it. That's ready to go to the laser cutter so that you can put this on the cutter and get this going. So that's it. Just do save as Illustrator file, and then it's good for the laser cutter to be imported. Okay, so that's the end of this short tutorial.